us. If you're new to this channel, I want to welcome you. What we're going to talk about is actually breaking patterns. I'm going to do a little series, about just 5 series of breaking patterns. Why are patterns important? Well, most of the decisions you make are based on something that you've learned when you were a child. And actually, as an adult, you make those decisions. What I found out is that between 0 to 5, you're 50% programmed to live out your life as an adult. Between 5 to 8, you're 30% programmed. And between 8 to 18, you're another 15% programmed. Think about it. By the time you're 18 years old, you're 95% programmed to react, to respond to your life, to every decision that you make that affects your finances, that affects your relationships, that affects your emotions, that affects your spirituality. 95% program. And that's actually a study that was done, but there's many studies that said between 0 to 6, you're 100% programmed. So my job for the next 5 series, we're going to go over how to break those patterns. Because if most of our decisions have been programmed, then that means our life is by default. Our life is already being preset to have the relationships that we have, to have the finances that we have. And I think that you and I could break those. So in this channel, I'm going to go over the 5 areas. Number 1, become aware of your pattern. Sounds simple, but it's really profound because you can't change something that you don't see. You can't change something that hasn't been healed. So what I would say, number 1, and we're going to go into that in the next few days, is to be aware of it. And how have you become aware of it? I think in your life you've seen things that are consistent, like say maybe in your finances, maybe in your relationship, and consistently, maybe similar patterns of relationships. Maybe emotionally you react in a different way or the same way every single time. Or maybe spiritually you have this block, or you always think a certain way. Or maybe in your health you're stuck in a certain way of maybe eating or your weight or whatever is going on with you, that is just consistent. If you're able to write them down, to go, okay, what is it in my life that keeps happening every time? What type of relationship that keeps showing up? What kind of finances that keep showing up? These will give you the habits and the patterns that you have. Another way to actually figure that out is asking 5 friends that you trust. You ask them, hey, what is my habits? What are some of the patterns that you see in my life in these 5 areas? The finances, the relationships, the emotion, the spirituality, and the health. What are some of the things that I constantly do? What is the constant? And you got to be able to actually be honest and really take the feedback. That's step number 1. Number 2, take full responsibility for your reaction to your program. As I said, maybe you've heard me speak in the very beginning that between 0 to 18, we're 95% programmed for the way we're reacting to life. But maybe things have happened to you that were tremendous as you grew up, like what happened to me. I went through some major abuse as a child. And to say that I need to take 100% responsibility for that, it's really, it's hard to do that. So when I say take responsibility for your reaction, I'm not saying take responsibility for the events that has happened to you that programmed you to react a certain way, like for myself, and I'll share a little bit about that. I am saying take responsibility for that reaction. In grief recovery, we talk about 1% responsibility for what has happened to you. 99% of the things that happened to you might have been, you were a victim actually. Like something happened to me as a child. I was a victim that caused me to react, that caused me to stop trusting people. Well, in this part, in this step, it's really important for you to not blame. Because if you're blaming, you won't see your patterns. Because you could only change you know that. You can't change anybody else, or you can't change your circumstances. Because some of the people that might have hurt you are not maybe alive, maybe they're dead, or maybe they're not talking to you. But as your constant resentment to them actually keeps you stuck. And you can't change without taking responsibility for your reaction. Not what happened to you, but your reaction to what happened to you. And a victim has a hard time apologizing. A victim has a hard time taking responsibility. So that is the second step. Step number 3, learn a new respond. Learn how to respond in a different way. When you're going into a battle, when you're triggered, or you're going into something that you know actually triggers something in you that makes you react a certain way that you've always been reacting, like just the way you react to things. Some people say, I'm just an angry person, I'm just this, I'm just that. If you know you're going to do something, before you go into that situation or before you react, plan out what other response can I give? What other response? How can I react in a different way? If I keep doing this, if I keep getting this reaction, if I keep reacting to this person, if I keep getting mad, if I keep getting short, what is another way for me to react? So plan that out when your state of mind is actually at peace, when you're not triggered, when you're not mad, when you're not, riled up. So plan out how you're going to respond to your patterns. One day I'm going to focus on that, but that's step number 3. Learn how to respond in a new way. Have that in mind before you go into a situation, before you go into a relationship, before you go into a financial situation, a financial decision. That's step number 3. Before, you have to let go of the need to struggle. We all have a need. Probably that need wasn't met as a child. And like for me, it was a need to be accepted. So I struggle with the need of rejection. I had a need to be accepted, so therefore I attracted rejection. I know that sounds weird, but it actually is. When you don't have a need that was met when you grew up, you're going to look for a situation, a story in your mind to confirm that that's what happened to you as a child. Like say for me, it was rejection. I had a fear, like as a child, I was rejected. And so what I did is I looked for situation or people that would actually reject me. And isn't that amazing? And you keep looking for that because in your mind, you have a need that wasn't met. And it becomes a struggle. And you have to have that struggle in your life in order for your life to make sense. So letting go of the need to struggle a lot of time is letting go of the need to be right, the need to have a story. I remember a client of mine was never rescued. Actually, kind of like me, I was never rescued as a child while abuse was going on in my life. And I never got somebody to rescue me. So therefore, I would put myself in different situations where I need to be rescued. So there was a need to be rescued. And that really created a self-sabotage in my life. And with that, I had to let go of the need to be rescued, which is the need to be struggled. So that's step number 4. Number 5, the final step, which I believe is one of the most important steps, is to enroll or find a support group of like-minded people. It's really important for you to have a community around you with people that are going in the same direction that you are. This says that you become like the 5 people that surrounds you. Well, I would highly recommend that you pick 5 people in your life that could hold you accountable to major changes. Some people call it mastermind. I know I was part of many masterminds in the past, and that was one of the most revolutionized time of my life where I grew the most because I was held accountable. When you talk about accountability, break the word down. Accountability is your ability. It's the account of your ability, accountability. So you have phenomenal ability in this life, and sometimes you need other people in your life to encourage you to look at yourself in the mirror and really realize who you truly are versus what those programs, those patterns that says you are. The patterns from your childhood that maybe says that you're not good enough, and you need to be surrounded with some people that actually sees you truly for who you are, and it can remind you of who you are. And with a group like that, you can literally change the world. With a group like that, you could also go out there and try to change things and try to change your patterns and deal with difficult people, and then put some boundaries. And if it doesn't work, you could always come back to this safe group that could encourage you to go back out there. So that step is really important for you to enroll or to find or to create a support group of like-minded people that are going in the same direction you're going, because you can't do this on your own. You need a community. Thank you so much for being with me, and thank you so much for watching this video. And I hope that you join me next week as we speak, and as I speak about one thing, which is becoming aware of our pattern, which is one of the most important things. Again, you can't change what you don't see. So I really thank you for being a part of this, and I'm looking forward to hearing you, and please put some comments there, and anything you want me to teach, please put it on there. But I will see each other next week. Thank you.